Hi there, this is Karnage again. Welcome to the channel. I am pretty stoked about today's review. This is the ZD Toys Mark V. You know, the one from Iron Man 2. The other one. Yes, it's been affectionately known as the briefcase suit or the football suit. It's a pretty unique one that has a pretty unique design. Anyway, let's get to ripping up the box and see what's inside, eh? Before I hurt myself with the scissors. Whoa! Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Look at this. Okay, look at the design of the box. Very different from the previous two. Hang on, I'll get them. But let's get this out of the cardboard box first. So this is the Mark III and the Mark II. The previous two boxes look very different, right? You have the aesthetic of the figure, the Iron Man suit itself, front and center, and this one opens up to reveal the arc reactor. Now this box, very different. Obviously, it shows the entire figure itself, but it still has this open window of the arc reactor. So it makes me wonder what's gonna be inside. Let's open it up, have a look. Okay, I gotta be careful not to scratch up the box because I do like to keep the boxes on these. They are pretty nice. Okay, probably not the best way to go, but oh well. I was careful enough. Alrighty then, let's have a quick look at the outside of the box. So you have the figure itself posed up here, faded in the background. You have the Mark V suit. Of course, you have the open window with the arc reactor being shown here. 中动玩具, the Marvel logo. Right on this side, it says Iron Man 2 Mark V at the back. I haven't seen this yet. So you get the figure itself, much less wordy than the previous two boxes. Just a very small little intro down here. Apparently you get the suitcase. Whole bunch of info. On the other side of the box, you get the figure, their logos, copyright Marvel again, and this reads Iron Man Mark V. Okay, nothing much at the bottom or at the top. Now I get to open it. So seeing it for the first time, let's rein in our excitement first, yeah? Okay, so it looks pretty nice. Again, the arc reactor, all these panels. We don't get the ribbon kind of flap anymore. Instead we get this. Is it removable? Let's have a look. No, it's just a pretty ugly looking piece of white plastic flap. I don't know, maybe some feedback from some buyers about the ribbon. I never had a problem with the ribbon, so I don't know why they replaced it, maybe to cut costs. Okay, let's take it out. I was expecting 2 trays, so this is the figure itself. Let's get it out. Alright, let's have a look at the aesthetics on this thing. so this is a very distinctive look for this particular suit, the Mark V. All the red on the silver. So it's kind of like a combination of the early Mark II and Mark III, all rolled into one, minus the gold. Okay, now again, as I mentioned before, the design on this one is definitely pretty unique, right? You got all these panel structures kind of thing. Very, very detailed, very well sculpted as far as I can see. You have again the transparent, translucent plastic down here for the arc reactor. Don't see as much of the detail underneath, so it might be a change to the design for the toy. You do get the translucent plastic again for the eyepiece in the helmet. Now I have caught certain places where the paint apps are not as clean. For example, here on the gauntlet, some of the silver paint is actually coming onto the reds, so that's not too good. A little bit down here as well. Alright, some of the reds coming onto the silver. I mean, you can't really see it from afar, of course, so it shouldn't impact your display that much, but this is a concern for some of you. Looking up close at the back, so up here the paint is pretty alright. Again, it's down to these finer details down here where the paint is a little bit shoddy. Alright, I guess that's to be expected. This is after all something like a $20, $30 figure. Highly detailed. It's just the paint leaves much to be desired. Look at the details down here on the back. Okay, the Iron Man bum. Right. So this is a very different design, a totally new sculpt. I don't think there's any reuse of any. Well, maybe the fist. I don't know, I'll have to compare it. Okay, overall looking very good. Aesthetically, well, I mean the sculpt, I will give it high marks. The paint, as I mentioned, is a little shoddy in certain places, but overall still passable for a toy at this particular price point. Alright, let's do articulations next. The head, it can look up only this much, so it's kind of in between the Mark II and the Mark III in terms of upward head movement. Looking down, together with the neck joint, okay, I guess that's pretty good, decent. Do you get any head tilt? Well, just a tad. I've been raving about their drop down mechanisms. So again, what you do is you pop out the joint on the shoulder and you can lift the arm up to just about horizontal. Of course, it does do 360-degree rotations. There is your bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows work pretty well. And you do have your wrist rotation and pivot. Okay, let's look at the torso joint or the diaphragm joint. Again, featuring the drop-down mechanism. Arching back quite a bit on that drop-down mechanism. But there's always a downside to this if not done properly. Look at the gap on that one. I am Iron Man. So quite a big gap. Again, I wish they extended the sculpt just a little to hide that. Okay, so forward movement, just that much. So not a ton in the forwards movement department. No waist joint. Let's look at the hip articulation. So drop down mechanism. With that employed, the hips just come out barely to that much. It has to do with the design down here, the armor plating. Okay, to the back. A little bit more, this much. Okay, I mean, to be honest, you're buying this for the aesthetics. Anyway, the double jointed knees work okay. Again, it is the design of the armor plating that's restricting the movement backwards. Alright. Ankle joint allows the foot to move back this much, to move forwards this much, and there is ankle pivot. So for accessories, this figure comes with two palm open hands. So the design, so the details on these are pretty good most of the times. Okay, look at the sculpt. It's missing a little bit of blue paint down here, right? I think it's supposed to be a bit darker, like this. Alright. Figure also comes with these kind of shooting hands, I'm gonna call them. So it's kind of like, so the fingers are kind of half bent. Again, I wish there'd been a little bit more paint on the blasters. Okay, it could do with one or two more coats. This is the back of it. Now the design on this, I have some issue. So you have a look at this and now compare it with the palm open hands. Right, can you tell the difference? Here, let me try it this way. So it does seem that the palm open hand has this additional armor piece on top, whereas this hand doesn't. And of course he comes with two blaster hands as well, with the ports for the blast effect. Okay, so have a look at the sculpt. Again, these hands do not have that extra plating on the top that you see in the palm open hands. Now I have a theory on this. It could be with the armor plating on the top is going to restrict the blast effect when holding the hand like this in this position. We'll see whether that assumption is true. Okay. You do see that the original figure itself comes with two fisted hands, and these do have that armor plating at the very top. Okay, let's get down to swapping out the hands and checking out our theory. Let's pack in the palm open hand with the port for the blast effects. So you just have to pop the hand in. Okay, it goes in pretty easily. And okay, so have a look at this. Without the armor plating, the palm does get to go all the way, So I believe this is a new design. So sacrificing a little bit of aesthetic for a better pose. Have a look at that. And of course, with the blast effect. Alright. Definitely good. Now there's one additional piece of accessory that is pretty amazing, and it's this, the briefcase itself, from which this is supposed to be spawned from. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that would work, but then again, I'm not Tony Stark. So anyway, looking at the details, yeah, this is a pretty nicely sculpted piece. The color is a glorious red, that hot rod red that we've grown to love. So the details here is pretty cool and pretty much screen accurate. So I'll throw up a picture up here so that you can compare. Right? But unfortunately, for those of you who are wondering, no, it can't be opened. Oh well. So for whatever reason, if you wanted to kind of pose Tony Stark with this briefcase, I think you can do it. You just need to kind of wedge it into his hands, and yeah, it plays the part. Of course, this figure also comes with its own stand, so you can see the Iron Man 2 Mark V, and together with all the required stand pieces. So as before, I'm not going to go through how to use the stand pieces. Do let me know down in the comments below if you need help with these. So this figure measures to the top of his head at about 18 centimeters. So now we are doing the figure comparisons. Now if you remembered in the previous video, I kinda made a special mention about this Repultech Iron Man armor, Mark II Iron Man armor. And I was kind of like fiddling around with it to see whether the arc reactor light still works. Lo and behold, I found it today actually glowing. For whatever reason, I'm not too sure. Here, let me turn off the studio lights. Alright, so you can actually see a very faint glow coming from it. Of course, back in the day it was much brighter. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Okay, here we have a quick comparison with the SHF bootleg. So aesthetically wise, you can make a quick comparison as to how this figure looks compared to that. This figure is not too bad, but it kind of looks a little bit more chunky. A little bit, I don't know, rough around the edges. But the design, the details is still pretty good. If you'd like to see a review of this one, just let me know, I'll make one. Okay, so anyway, that's how it stacks. That's how it stacks up. Alright, representing Marvel Legends, we have the Mark 47, also known as the Iron Man Century. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool figure with a very different color combination. Okay, so have a look at that. That's how they stack up. And representing the Marvel Legend females, this is the Pepper Pot figure. That's how it stacks up. I think it actually still works pretty well in terms of the height. Alright, here to give my final thoughts on this figure. Well, it is definitely one of the figures that I was very much looking forward to ever since it was announced. And to be honest, I think I was not disappointed. Although the paint I've mentioned in the video is not really perfect, but
the aesthetics, the sculpt, and just the overall presentation more than makes up for it. I think out of the three, my favorite is still the Mark III. But if you're like me, a fan of Iron Man or of ZD Toys, this is a figure that I think you must get. Don't forget to give me a like, smash the subscribe button, and ring that bell icon. Let me know down in the comments which of these three are your favorite suits. What do you think of ZD Toys? In particular, these three Iron Man suits that they have created. Do you own any? Or are you intending on getting one? Well, time for me to sign off, my friend. You have a great day.